New home prices across the GTA are down a whopping 20%. Experts think we've already hit the bottom. A lot of you guys in the comment section below have told me this is just the beginning. If you're a buyer, seller, investor, your opinion means a lot here on this channel. But today we're actually going to break down an article we have here from stories.com. So let's see what's actually happening in the new development side of things. How much have prices actually dropped? Why are sales actually at historic lows? And what this actually means for you going forward. So let's actually look at the numbers. We're going back to January 2025. We had 347 new home sales in January. Sounds like a lot, but it's not. We were actually down 40% year over year, 77% below that 10-year average. And condo sales, they actually plunged 58% from last year. That's just a massive number to actually grasp and feel the gravity of. Despite these prices actually coming down, it really doesn't seem like the buyers are anywhere to be found in this particular market today. In fact, December had the lowest sales in 40 years, and now prices are actually down in January as well. If you're a buyer, I don't know if it's something you can even justify rushing in the market today. A lot of news articles are going to push the fact that the market is going to go up at some point in time. Sure, everything goes up, goes down, everything is going to move and ebb and flow, but have we actually hit the bottom is the biggest question that really we're not going to know until we're already on our way up. The reality is some people might get lucky. They might have sold at the peak. They might go ahead and just time it perfectly and buy on the low, but you're not going to be able to do that more than likely. You have to think about real estate always as that long game, especially if you're thinking about it from a roof over your head and a home for your family. That's the most important thing about real estate. It is not about trying to play the ebbs and flows. You're going to get caught in this market and it's not going to be pretty. There's three key reasons here why home prices are actually falling at the moment. Interest rates, I think, is one of the largest ones. They're still a big barrier for people. You still have the stress test. They're still quite a bit higher than what they were back in 2021 and 2022. I know 2021 and 2022 were an anomaly in terms of the rates where they were at, but people who have actually bought in 2021 and 2022, you might have been able to afford $1 million mortgage. Now that same person is only going to be able to afford $750,000 to $800,000. It's a big difference in terms of the affordability, and it's going to make a difference on your payments when you come up for renewal, especially if you are on that fixed rate, because it is going to change your payments significantly. The excessive inventory is the other reason why I think the prices are dropping. I mean, if you're a buyer, you see all this inventory hitting the market, you might say to yourself, well, let's just see how long stuff sits around. Let's see how long it piles up for before you actually make a decision. GTA currently has about 14 months of inventory available. That is quite a lot of inventory. That's over 21,000 new homes that are actually sitting unsold, forcing developers to actually cut prices. Developers have gotten to the point where they may have already cracked ground, started building homes, and they have not sold out on their sites. You might think it's a good opportunity for you to get into a new build. Me personally, I'd probably go the resale side of things. It's usually cheaper. You might have some sellers who just need to sell, so it might be a better opportunity for you, but you always have to weigh your options and see if it makes sense. And then when we're talking about that 21,000 inventory, it's actually broken down and the numbers are pretty shocking. 18,900 of these 21,000 units are condos. So there is just a absolute shit ton of condos, for lack of a better word, on the market. It is just an amazing amount of condos that are out there. Some may be useless layouts, some may be great. Ultimately, it's not something that's really attractive for all the buyers that are currently looking in this market. 4,500 of these are single family homes, very small percentage of that 21,000 if we're looking at it from that big picture. Lastly, buyers, I think they're just waiting for lower rates. Even though we've started to come down, buyers might be looking at the whole situation here. They might be saying to themselves, I actually think rates are going to get lower because the situation is getting more dire and more dire as time moves on here and the market doesn't pick up. With every rate decrease from the Bank of Canada, we haven't seen any uptick in activity in the market. Single family homes on the resale side of things, they're still moving. That's not a concern in terms of the market on that side of things, but condos on the new home side, freehold on the new home side, they're just not making the moves that people are looking for. And you're risking having to just wait and see what happens with the market and tying up your equity on the new home side of things, which is very, very scary in today's climate. I think if you're a buyer right now, you're going to have that question. Is it the right time to buy? Prices are actually at the lowest they've been since 2022. Hasn't been all that long. It's been about 3 years. And there are people out there saying we've hit rock bottom. Whether you believe it or not is a completely different question. Developers are offering at this point really large incentives for you to actually get into one of these new home sales. We're seeing like free cars, cashback incentives, free upgrades. We're seeing a whack of different options that are being thrown at you. But the reality is you need to kind of keep your head on a swivel with, okay, they're going to give me 50 grand in incentives. That's nice. Can I buy the same home today in the resale side of things at a cheaper price? That should be your top priority more than anything else. And there's still a lot of selection. So if you're stuck on the mindset, you need new builds, you want to be the first one in the house, you're going to have more selection now than you've ever had. So you're going to have that game with yourself. It doesn't make sense for me to buy as a buyer in this market. As an investor, I don't think it makes sense personally, but as a buyer of somebody who needs a roof over their head, this is where you're going to have that internal battle. The risks right now that you need to really consider are you buy something and the rates actually go further. So maybe you lock in a fixed rate today and they actually drop a little bit further. That's going to be something you need to consider. You actually might need to consider, if you don't take action today, will the prices actually go up and you lose the opportunity? There is always a chance of that. Do I see that happening? Not necessarily, but you never know what's going to happen out there today. Waiting too long, you might lose out on some of these builder incentives, but if you've done your research and the incentives aren't that great after all, based on what the resale side of things look like, then I'd be okay with that personally. So if you're planning to stay in your home long term, this is where I might consider buying something today. If you're thinking you'll be there for 5, 10, 15 years, I'm not super worried about a situation like that. The market is going to make its runs up and down between now and that time frame. The people who I'm more concerned about are somebody who's maybe buying something with a family member, buying something with a significant other. You're not married, you're in a young, new relationship, and you're going to tie yourself down on a property where you guys might, in 3 years, be negative based on the purchase price that you paid today. So those are risks that you have to really weigh. You can always message me, number here on screen, figure out if that makes sense for you in your specific situation. I'll kind of guide you on what my opinion would be. Ultimately, you guys have to take your best stab at what makes sense for you. If you're a seller right now, we have some challenges, to say the least. I mean, homes are sitting on the market for a lot longer. You're going to be a little bit more stubborn just mentally because you want to hold your price, but you're also going to be just sick and tired of a home sitting on the market. You're going to think maybe your agent's not doing the job. You're going to think nobody appreciates your home like you do. And the buyers ultimately, with all the properties that are out there, if you have something that is a commonality across the market, let's say you have a 1-bedroom condo with a mediocre layout, buyers do have the upper hand here. So your negotiation is not going to really go in your favor as the seller a lot of the time. And if you want to sell your house, it has to be priced right at that threshold of what everything is selling at, and it has to be attractive to the buyers who are coming in. Don't go and try to just get everything for your house. If it's something that you can get on every other corner, you're going to end up sitting on the market for a long time. Now, we're getting a lot of calls from sellers asking us, should we actually sell right now? There's a lot behind this question, but if you need to sell it, you got to go forward with it, but you have to price it aggressively to actually sell the home. You have to stage your home and make sure it actually stands out. There's really no question to it. Make sure your home looks clean, it looks proper. You don't necessarily have to hire a full-on staging company, but you have to declutter your house, depersonalize it, make it look like something that's really attractive for the people that are coming in. And consider holding on to your home. If you do not have to sell right now, maybe you think you can wait it out for another 2-3 years. Maybe the market does get a little bit better for you. That might make sense depending on your situation if you want it to actually sell today or sell in the future. Now, we can all predict what is next for the rest of 2025, whether it's the new home sales, the resale side of things, but construction costs are still at an all-time high. Tariffs are always looming at this point, it seems like. I know they've been delayed again until April, but builders can't really seem to afford to drop their prices much, so the prices of these new build homes are really going to stay where they are. Interest rates, hopefully, yes, they come down further, bringing the buyers back into the market, but I think ultimately we need to see the prices fall a little bit further and the rates to fall a little bit further to make the buyers come into the market and to re-stimulate this economy. Is the market going to get much better throughout the rest of 2025? It's still early in the year, so we will have to see how many rate decreases happen to see if we get that stimulation we're looking for. Thanks so much for watching this video, and if you liked us discussing here the new home issues, take a look at one of these two videos here so you can get some more insight on what's actually happening in the Greater Toronto Area real estate market. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye for now.